Good evening, boxing fans, and welcome to another exciting edition of Enter the Ring Live with your host, Mighty Mike.
AJ Rage.
And we are, I believe, once again, awaiting our third member of our broadcast team,
Eric
Eric the Red.
the Red.
So just so as you guys know, obviously we're here to talk about fights, but right now, we're actually both watching on a separate screen. A friend of ours, Nate Weston, is fighting the main event at the Omega Sports in Corona, California for Thompson Boxing. Nate Weston is fighting undefeated Richard Brewer. Both guys undefeated. Richard Brewer 8-0, 4 knockouts, and Nate 6-0-2. And into the second round now. What did you see him, bro? Nate dropped him with a left hook in the first round, so Nate's definitely up on the scorecard, 10-8 after
Absolutely.
one.
I like what I see. I'm liking what I've seen out of Weston right now. For a guy who hasn't fought since 2019, not to his fault. Obviously with the COVID, and he was, like you said, he was scheduled to fight Joey Spencer. It looked like Joey Spencer, based on what I'm seeing right now, he's glad that he didn't step in the ring with Nate Weston. But Nate looks really slick. I made that comment earlier. He kind of reminds me of Mike McCallum. Doesn't quite do the body like McCallum, but he's a slick guy. He said he's a guy. Tell us a little bit about Nate's history.
Well, okay. Nate's a guy I met a couple years ago. He was one of Jaime Munguia's main sparring partners for several camps. The Brandon Cook fight, the I believe even the even when he won his title, when when he went and fought Saddam Ali, but worked several camps with Jaime Munguia. Was a regular at the gym, training and sparring there. Um, he's a guy, like they said, he's a guy that moved on from Munguia's camp when Munguia moved back down to TJ. He then fought. Actually, he actually worked with Triple G, two separate camps up in Big Bear, California. Was one of his main sparring guys. So he's got some great experience. And you're right, he was scheduled to fight Joey Spencer. What did I say, Joey Lawrence? Joey Spencer in August of last year during COVID. And then at the last minute, I think a couple weeks before the fight, Joey Spencer's team backed out of the fight and pulled in another opponent. I think they said, let's pump the brakes on this Nate Weston kid. We don't maybe maybe all of the ring wars Nate's had in the gym kind of, for lack of a better term, scared him off a little bit. And they said, this guy's, it might be a little bit too much right now. So he's
Yeah,
a solid kid, though. He's a former football player. He's from Atlanta. Like they said, I think he played some college ball, got started a little bit later in boxing, but he's a good athlete, though. And he's a hard, dedicated. Oh, he just caught that kid with another nice right now. Good card, though, so far from Corona, California.
absolutely. See a little bit of the action here with Nate Weston. What are you seeing from Weston right now, Mike, that's impressing you?
Well, I like his patience. I mean, he's boxing off the back foot. He's really not. I mean, he's really, I know he's fighting off the back foot. He's using that jab. He's got the other kid looking for that one big shot. That kid Brewer is definitely trying to maybe catch back up by landing a big shot like Nate landed in the first round. But from what I'm seeing, I have Nate now comfortably up 2-0 after this second round.
Especially with that 10-8 round in the first round with that knockdown.
So I got him what with that 20.
Yeah, I actually found out about the fight yesterday. I was still in that little bit of a boxing fuzz from that amazing bout between Valdez and Berchelt.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was just kind of doing what we do, starting to get everything prepared for the show today.
Yeah.
And I see this thing pop up from Thompson because I'm on the thing where I get notifications, and it's Nate Weston. I'm like, holy moly! I think I hit you up at almost 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Well, I talked to his strength and conditioning coach, a guy named George. My buddy George called me up, and he told me I wasn't unaware of the fight until yesterday afternoon. He called me and told me, "Hey, Nate's got the main event tomorrow. The fight start at 3:00. So he'll be fighting, in the main event a couple hours. So what? We're just about 5:00 and the fight just started." George is a guy that's a strength and conditioning coach. He's really good. He's been working with a lot of fighters as of late. And he's I mean, he said Nate had a really good camp. He said conditioning wise, Nate his camp was really good. And that was the thing. Nate's got the ability, but I think in one or two of his fights, he kind of gassed a little bit towards the end of the fight. So I think with this fight, he said they feel he's primed and ready to go. The long layoff inactivity might hurt a little bit, but I think he's looking pretty solid right now.
No, I think he's looking real good. He's definitely got this this Brewer kid guessing. I think questioning himself because the kid's known to be a big puncher. He did a nice little right there, but he's definitely not the beast that he showed in some of his prior fights. I watched some of his earlier stuff today.
Yeah, and like I said, I think he came in very confident. The kid saying that he felt he was just what he said. He said he was just levels ahead of Nate, and I think he's finding out that he's not. And I think right now he's looking for that one big shot to try to even things up on the scorecard. And he's getting hit right now with some nice counters, especially that left hook. That left hook keeps landing for Nate.
That's a old Tyrone the Butterfly Crawley style left hook. That's a Philly left hook. You don't see that a whole lot, especially a guy coming out of. Nate's from Georgia, right?
Yeah, he's from Georgia. He's living and training here in obviously in Southern California, but it's a good action-packed fight. I mean, it's a good fight. This is the round I think that this is probably the closest of the 3 rounds so far. We're in the 3rd round right now. It's a close round. Nate's landing some nice counters. He's kind of allowing this guy to dictate the pace a little bit, but I think I would like to see Nate in the next round. Maybe now start to put his foot on the gas and maybe start trying to push this guy back a little bit. See if this guy can fight backing up.
I think I'd like to see Weston use that jab. He's got that slick jab. This other guy just kind of got a pawing jab, a pushing jab.
Yeah.
And he's got a little bit more pop on it. If he use that, he'd have that measuring stick and keep this guy at the end of some of those hooks.
And when Nate's doing a good job, this kid's throwing punches, but if you look closer, none of them are landing. He's hitting air. Nate's moving out of the way just in time, and he's keeping his distance. And the kid's not very good at cutting off the ring. He's just kind of following Nate around, trying to land a big shot. You can see that.
Well, you see what Weston landed. You'll see it here in a minute because I'm a little bit ahead of you. But Weston pops a little jab there. When he does that, it just kind of discombobulates this guy. Nate doubles up on that and stuff. I mean, it could be all.
Yeah, nice jab right there. Yeah, like you said, it's a nice little jab. I want to see him follow. And this kid, like I said, he's coming back with counters, but he's hitting nothing but air. He's really not landing anything on Nate.
No,
at all. So I'm hoping, and then that jab again is snapping Brewer's head back. I really feel that this is a fight where Nate's defense is really looking solid, and I hope the judges give him credit for avoiding these punches.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, absolutely. If the fight carries on like this for another 3 rounds, it would be a clear-cut win for Nate.
Well, yeah. And I think that's one of the things, and this is at a point right now too with Weston. I mean, this is against an undefeated opponent. Obviously, this is the type of thing that promotional banners will look at out there and stuff. Nate's with, I believe, Thompson Boxing
for this card. For this card, obviously but I know that in speaking to Nate's, one of his trainers, I know that they're, how do I say this? One of the matchmakers is a guy from the East Coast, a guy named Capone that I've spoken to on the phone a few times. He initially called me about a year ago, and I was kind of helping those guys, handle the business side of it. And they called me and they wanted to set up a fight for Nate to go fight this undefeated kid out in Philadelphia. But the terms and everything wasn't quite what Nate and him were looking for. And plus, he was kind of in between relocating from LA back to Georgia, and now he's back to LA. So, but either way, they've stayed in contact. And they said if Nate looks good in this fight and wins this fight looks good, then his next step will be on a PBC card, because like I said, he was scheduled to fight on that PBC card against Joey Spencer, but Joey Spencer, they just flat out backed out of the fight. They just flat out.
Spencer, don't get me wrong, Joey Spencer, his only thing that Joey Spencer has is he's got a punch, but we don't really know what level of punch because you got to look at the guys he's been facing and stuff. So the thing is that one of the things that I could tell you right off the bat, and this guy that Nate's fighting against, I see this as kind of like the perfect opponent because this guy's kind of a Joey Spencer kind of guy, just kind of comes straight in, throws big punches, and you see it's the slickness that
Nate has yet to be touched in this round, and he's dipping and dodging and weaving and landing that jab, that counter jab.
So good at slipping punches.
Yeah, he's slipping punches.
It might almost give the illusion to the judges he's getting hit.
Well, that's what I'm
rolling with it. Yeah,
that's what I'm hoping the judges are not seeing. Look, there's aggressiveness and then there's effective aggression, and this kid is coming forward, but he's not landing.
I'd like
really
to see Nate do what he just did a minute ago. He came in and he caught him with a quick little right, and then like a quick little 1-2 to the body. That's the kind of stuff that it's just there you go. Polished professionalism right there, man. He's slick. He's very slick for a middleweight. He moves well. Oh, nice. He's definitely got speed that you can't really tell how fast he is because it almost looks methodical, but it's fast. It's getting there.
Well, what's shocking to me in watching this and watching the weigh-in yesterday, Nate is a physically big guy. He's 6 foot tall. Mm-hmm. He was just a little bit shorter than Jaime Munguia during those sparring, but Nate is physically a big man, and I don't know how he got down to what was the contract?
Yeah, I think they fought out when he was
fought at 155. This is fights at 155, so it's not quite the middleweight. It's a little bit under, but I just do not know how he was able, but you know, but they had a good camp.
When I saw him there, he was there that day, and he was working the bag, and I thought he was a light heavyweight. I thought he was like a light heavyweight.
Yeah,
I didn't think he was a middleweight. When you told me he was a middleweight, I was like, what? This guy's a middleweight?
Yeah. And he's actually fought as low as, I think he's fought as low as 147 before, believe it or not. I think when he fought Nam Fan, that might have been, or it might have been a catch weight of like 150 or something like that, 150, 151. But still, though, I mean, I don't.
Yeah, this guy's catching nothing but air. This kid Brewer, I mean, you know, if there's a ghost out there, he's about the only one getting connected. Nate's just.
Yeah, Nate has yet to get hit by this guy in this entire fourth round.
Yeah.
Oh, he missed it right hand. Yeah,
you see the frustration on Brewer's face at this point, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he just cannot. He's trying, but Nate's just being slick, and Nate's just catching him with that little counter jab and those little body shots, and those are scoring. Let's
listen just for a moment while we're waiting for Eric to read, and then we'll get on our discussion here.
Got it.
Oh, actually, that's the end of that round. We'll come back to that in just a moment.
Okay.
So we have a moment here. Why don't we talk about?
Let's go ahead and start with the DAZN card that took place it was the UK, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah. David Avanesian going up against Josh Kelly. Obviously, Josh Kelly, the hometown favorite, the undefeated fighter, I believe, and I mean, what was it? The sixth round, Avanesian caught him, hurt him, dropped him, and then he just took a series of punches, and Avanesian ended up winning by sixth round. I think the corner threw the towel in, TKO.
Yeah. It was weird.
The corner stopped it, or something.
Yeah, they threw it in. It was just a matter of time, honestly, bro. Kelly suffered a laceration on the back of his head. It was a really strange spot where he got cut, but he was bleeding profusely, and it wasn't stopping. I'm not using that as an excuse. He looked like he was having his way with Avanesian early in the fight, but then once Avanesian kind of settled down, you know, because he's been a little inactive and started landing some of his big shots, you started to see a different Josh Kelly. He wasn't as slick in the early going. Kelly reminded me almost of a Canelo. He was able to slip the punches. He had Avanesian out of position all the time, catching him with punches, and it looked like maybe Josh Kelly was on his way to impressive victory, and then something turned. Once he started getting hit, he started to buckle and fold. And then next thing you know, and it's sad because Kelly, I know he was looking at big bouts that they were talking about later on and stuff. Yeah. With some of these people out there and stuff. But I mean, he's a young guy. I mean, he can go back to the drawing board, but you know, guy, take your hats off to Avanesian, a guy who's lost to guys like Lamont Peterson, amongst others and stuff. Didn't look very good against Kabalukas, and comes back, wins the European Commonwealth Championship, and beats undefeated. Oh, guy just went down again right now.
Guy goes down again. I tell you, Nate's starting to catch him with those counters. And let's see, you're ahead of me a little bit on your screen. Oh, he's going to say no knockdown. He's going to say a push.
I don't know how he says that's a push.
I know. I saw a left hook land. I don't know. I have to go back and look at that. It didn't look like a push to me. And this kid literally cannot land on Nate. No. This kid literally has hit nothing but air this entire fight. He literally has not landed a clean punch this entire fight. And I'm not watching this with biased eyes. I'm just watching the fight. And Nate is clearly the only one even landing punches. This kid is swinging, but he's missing bad over the top. He's missing bad.
Let's see what the announcers have to say here for a moment.
Yeah. I don't hear anything, AJ.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hello.
Give me 1 second.
Fundamentally.
No.
Technical standpoint, he has a good grasp of what he's doing, good ring IQ.
Yeah, I'm surprised he doesn't have.
Oh, nice right hand.
Yeah.
He had a few in Alabama, but he said he wasn't much out there.
No, but I would think he'd had 30 or 40 amateur bouts.
So they're being very complimentary of Nate, right? Am I? Is that what I'm seeing?
You know, he was a man.
Yeah. You want me to turn up a little bit?
The choice to devote himself to professional boxing, and obviously he's taken this career very seriously.
Yeah, he told me when he went into the gym for the first time in LA, he's like, I just want something to do, work out here. They put him in the spar. Like, what's your background? You're actually hanging with some of these guys. Let's get you locked in. He's actually at Leo Santa Cruz's gym.
Yeah, he's at Knockouts.
Who's next in La Puente? So Leo.
Oh, that's right. Who's next?
Weston's that night. And we head to the 6th. Ruckus Sports.
Another good. It looks like another good round for Weston right there and stuff.
Yeah, for no doubt. No, I got him up. This easy could be 5 rounds to nothing. The closest round I think was the 3rd round. If you want to maybe make a case to give a round to Brewer, it would maybe be the 3rd round. But at this point, mathematically, there's no way he wins this fight unless he stops Nate Weston or drops him twice. Yeah. That's what I'm seeing here. And I know the kid's going to come in with reckless abandon now. It's the last round coming up, right? They're fighting 6 rounds. So he's going to definitely come in and try to, and Nate just has to box smart. But from everything I've seen, and even from the tone of the announcers, this is a comfortable win for Nate.
Yeah. Like I said, barring not getting caught by something just, that shouldn't be there and stuff, Nate should cruise to a victory over a guy who came in 8-0.
And you know what? I would really like to see that what was considered a push, because it looked like he threw a left hook and caught him. It wasn't flush, but even if it caught him on the side of the head or the shoulders, I mean, it still looked like he went down. But we'll see.
Yeah. They put on some pretty good little events over here. I remember some time ago, our step brother Nick went over and checked out about over there with the Omega.
Right here, Omega Motorsports.
The guy who owns it, big boxing fan.
Yeah,
he actually built a little arena,
like a pavilion. Yeah, a pavilion.
I'd heard the story that originally he had done it for the employees. He had an employee that fought, that was a boxer, and he loved boxing. They put it out there for the employees, and more people want to do it. Next thing you know, they started doing this. But
see, Nate's throwing that little check left hook again. If you look at, he's trying to time that kid coming in, and he's throwing that little check left hook. He's coming, and he's just letting it go. And this kid, like I said, this kid is trying, but he's just coming up short. You can see he's pulling those punches because I think he feels Nate's counters, even if it's just a counter jab, he feels it. And he's pulling back
too. He's very hesitant. His punch output is completely cut in half compared to what he was doing earlier in the fight and stuff. And I think that has a lot to do with those quick little counters that Weston's been landing. With success.
Well, let's just hope, luckily so far this weekend was one of the rare weekends where we're not talking too much about the judges and the reffing of the fights, but let's just hope that their judge, nice left hook right there by Weston again. He caught that kid with a left hook on the top of the head. Let's hope these judges get this one right.
Yeah, well, the way they were talking earlier today and stuff like this, even though there was some complimentary stuff talked about Brewer, it definitely seemed like to me Weston was the A side coming into this fight. They were talking about,
You think so? I think
so. I think even though Brewer's a local kid out of Rancho Cucamonga, Weston they knew. Obviously, guys like Steve Kim and them that are calling this thing, they know who Weston is. They know who he's worked with. They know that and a lot of people don't understand that, but just like the young fighter that's over at the gym, Rene Moreno, when you've had the opportunity to spar against some of these top guys, when a guy like Leo Santa Cruz calls you in to spar against you and you only got 3 fights on your roster, that says something about you as a fighter, and when a guy like Nate Weston's been in there with champions like Jaime Munguia, Triple G, like you said, it says something about that. So when he gets in there against a guy, no matter if he's 8-0, it's not the class of these other guys, even in a sparring session.
I tell you, Nate does a great job of rolling to his right.
Very well.
Goes right, and the kid just catches nothing. Catches him on the solar plexus or the top of the shoulder, but nothing's really landing. It just rolls off of his back like that. You see that just again, and he's firing those little counters.
He must have learned that little quick little over the top right from Triple G or something like this, because that's something that Triple G does a lot of times. That little.
Well, Triple G's a great counter puncher.
Yeah.
So if you can go in there, and like I said, I heard the rumors of it. I would never witness those sparring. Those are close sparring sessions, but he more than held his own against Triple G. And he said it. Triple G is a strong man. He said he's physically a strong guy. Yeah. That was we coming to the end of this fight. That was I think an easy win for Nate Weston. I got it 5 rounds to 1 or 6 rounds to nothing.
I believe so too. Yeah.
Let's hope these guys get it right.
We'll put it back on once the decision's rendered. We'll let them call the decision and stuff like that. But let's go ahead. Josh Kelly comes up short against Avanesian. Tough loss for Kelly. You could see Kelly was physically very, very, very down.
He was after that fight, yeah.
But I gotta say this again. This comes back to the fact that you can't win fights on social media. You can't win fights with endorsements, being the pretty boy, the guy who's getting all the magazine covers. Avanesian came in here with one goal, and that was to end Josh Kelly's free ride. And he did exactly that. Now, it's not the end of the world for Josh Kelly. It was a devastating loss. Some people are going to say, well, maybe the cut had something to do with it. Maybe, whatever. Maybe just at 10 fights, fighting against an experienced guy like this. I just think it was a step in the wrong direction. I think Kelly
step up too much too soon.
Yeah, just a little bit too soon. I think he just underestimated him. But you got to take your hats off. I think Avenisian showed a different level of himself. Definitely a better level than he showed against Kavalukas.
Yeah, and let me ask you real quick. What are they saying in the here? I'm going to turn mine up for a second. I just want to hear what the announcers are saying.
It's actually a commercial right now. So.
Okay, so Steve Kim just said it. He's on my official card. He's got a 59.55. They're talking about it right now.
Yeah.
He said he had 59.55 for
I'm going to put it. I'm going to go back live with it as soon as it comes back on right now.
Got it. So Steve Kim, and he's a pretty reputable guy, Steve Kim. For those of you that don't know him, he writes for the well, he's on the he's ESPN writer now, right? He used to write for the Ring magazine. Now he's writing for ESPN. Dougie Fisher, I don't know how he had that scorecard, but I'm guessing he probably had a similar scorecard.
I had the same thing, 59, 55.
Yeah, I think if you want to give that kid one round, you can maybe give him the third. Because that, I mean, it was a close round. It was a toss-up. But if you want to say, okay, he looked a little bit better in that round, you can give him that third round. So, yeah, 59, definitely 59, 50. 59 would be 56 then because of the knockdown.
Yeah.
So, let's see what happens.
Yeah, it should be coming up here soon. But other fights, before we get on to the big Oscar Valdez fight.
No, I'm sorry, 59-54. I'm sorry, 59-54. Got it. Okay. Let's talk about the fights on Showtime. The return of Adrian AB Broner.
The problem
against Santiago, a late replacement, but a tough guy, undefeated, I believe, right? Undefeated fighter.
Yeah, Santiago came into the fight undefeated against Adrian Broner, obviously at 14-0.
And AB wins a split decision or unanimous?
Oh, he won a unanimous decision.
He wins a UD. Okay.
And the thing was, it was like, I know a lot of people get down on Adrian Broner. Me, myself, of course. I've had my issues with Adrian Broner over the years. Wasn't a big fan of his in the beginning. Well, let me take that back. I was a fan of his in the beginning when he was beating guys like Jason Letzow. And then his association with Floyd Mayweather turned AB into something that I just didn't like. I turned him into this narcissistic, whatever. And at that point, I started to see the steady decline of AB and his concentration and his output. It was almost like he was fighting in front of a mirror and he just wanted to watch himself and didn't really care about the opponent. At certain points last night, he showed that. He started to he let a lot of those early rounds go. Something that once he steps up competition in this comeback, he can't do. But when AB gets, we're going to go, looks like they're going to have the decision right now. So let's go back live.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. Two undefeated fighters, Nate Weston and Richard Brewer.
Where is
it?
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Oh, no, it's going to be right now. Oh, shit. My bad, bro.
Well, here, I'm just going to turn it up on mine then.
Yeah, go ahead.
Judge Barragan scores it
58-55. What?
Richard
Bullshit.
Brewer.
What a terrible decision. Terrible decision.
58-55.
I'll have to respectfully disagree.
Steve Kim is disagreeing. Bullshit.
That young man, who we've seen often and probably going to see again, won that fight. Most of this bout, in my view, was controlled by the speed and quickness and the tactical
robbery
of Nate Weston.
Cynthia Conti, no way. Nate won that fight.
See a lot of bad
this is bullshit.
on this club show.
Well, we couldn't get out of a weekend with a.
Well, I'll tell you
this is horrible.
Well, I'll tell you
this is horrible.
I tell you, I'm not going to listen to the rest of what they have to say. Here's the thing: is you can see that Weston is upset. I'm gonna tell you now, it's not the end of the world. Anybody out there, even with this possible opportunity with PBC, knows who won this fight. This was obviously a hometown decision. You know what I'm saying? All of the guys there are
everybody in the comments. Everybody in the comments. Bullshit decision. That's so wrong. No way. Wow. Rip off. Every single commenter on Thompson's on their Instagram live page is just Nate. Oh my God.
It's okay.
Who the F judged that? Wow. One idiot says Nate ran away the whole fight. Somebody named Kimberly Salazar, who obviously maybe that's his cousin, Richard Brewer's cousin. Come on, give me a break. Whoever you are, give me a break. Go do something else. You have no. Wow. These judges are tripping. Everybody's just like, oh my God, this is bullshit. Nate whooped that ass. Another terrible call. Weston won.
And like I said, when you talk to Nate, just let him. I mean, I'm sure Nate, he's not going to take. The only thing in negative I see Nate Weston taking is a couple things. Number one,
the only people I see commenting that Brewer won was about 3 or 4 commenters that are all female, that are all obviously know him, or like, good job, Richard. Good job. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Whatever.
Let me tell you, based on what I saw right now, it's real simple. I don't see a lot of future, a lot of hope, a lot of prospect in Richard Brewer.
Yeah.
Richard Brewer is not got the skills. I see a lot of potential in Nate Weston. Nate Weston won this fight tonight. I don't care what the card came back. I don't care what it said. Nate Weston will go on to bigger and better things. This is a good thing to come back, even though they didn't give him the decision, which he obviously deserved, and we'll elaborate it more on our website. It's a step in the right direction of getting back in the ring, and he'll look even better in his next one. So hopefully PPC still they move forward with that and stuff, because I want to see Weston again. He made me a fan tonight.
Yeah.
They're talking to him right now, actually, Nate Weston.
That's just horrible. What are they saying?
They're going to talk to him right now.
That's bullshit.
How you felt when you heard those cards announced?
I mean, this is the reason right here why fighters fight scared. This is why undefeated fighters don't want to face each other. Because bull crap like that. I knocked him down and I outboxed him for 6 straight rounds.
Yep.
But you know, it is what it is. I knew that was going to be a risk coming into this fight.
Yep.
I gave it all in.
He was the B-side.
I ain't no crybaby. And that's why they say in this sport, don't leave it to the judges.
Yeah. And, you know, one thing that I do got to note is obviously, you know, there was fans, even our announcers said that they saw this fight, you know, going more your way.
It was
when
clearly
like
his
this
fight.
happens, how do you step back into the ring and get back on track?
It's very difficult. Honestly, I'm going to sit down and talk to my family about it, because I put a lot into this to be taken away from me like that, you know what I'm saying? So, but to answer your question, if a champion wants to be a champion, if a person wants to do something, they're going to do it. So it's not hard. If you want to get back and do something, that's for anybody in the world. If you fail at anything, get back in there. You know what I'm saying? If that's something that you really want, go ahead and do it.
All right, and you want to give a quick shout out to that family?
Yes, I want to give a shout out to multiple people. First, my boy George. I know you watching.
That's George.
Your
That's
pop died from COVID. I'm hurting with you, but you know I love you. I also want to say rest in peace to Cynthia Saldana, beautiful angel. She died from COVID as well. I want to say rest in peace to my brothers Jamal and Joseph. And I want to give a shout out to the city of Atlanta, my Uncle Clarence Jr., my dad, my mom, my brother Kurt, my sister Bungie, Deja, the whole city, you know what I'm saying? What can I say?
This is nonsense,
Saludos,
man.
mis vijones. Gracias por su apoyo. Gracias por su... Gracias por todo. I mean, I'm just lost for words right now.
Right.
Los quiero mucho. And all I got to say is,
Hey, come on,
Maria,
that's a commodity
Sapphire, I
right
love you
there,
guys. I'll
man.
be home soon.
All right, Nate, thank you so much for the time. I'm sure we'll be seeing you again soon. Go ahead and take these stairs down. And then joining us in just a bit, we have tonight's winner, of course,
wanna hear
Richard
this guy at
Brewer,
all?
coming up.
I don't
here
even want to
with us.
hear it. It's going to piss me off. Turn it off.
Yeah.
It's just going to anger me, because the guy's going to come in and say the usual. Well, you know, I thought I controlled the fight. Kid didn't land a punch the entire fight.
Kid was horrible. I had to say it. He was horrible.
God awful. God
Terrible.
awful. God awful. And it's something I would not. It's something I would tell him to his face if I saw him. You lost that fight. You know you lost
He
that
knows
fight.
he lost the fight. You can see
And
it
his
in
head was
face.
down. His head was down. Yeah, this is just, I don't know, man. I tell you, we couldn't get a weekend without some bullshit in boxing.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know what I'm saying? But you know, that seems to be the trend. I hate to say it sometimes, bro, but
Man, that really angers me right now.
Yeah,
Nate boxed beautifully in that fight.
yeah, it's always discouraging, man, when you see a fighter go in there, and like Nate said, we don't even know how much you put into making this bout happen, and then
Nate's a man that works full time. He's got a young family. He's got his wife. He's got a young child, and this is, like he said, he put a lot into this, and then to have it taken away from him like that. But then again, he said he knew going in, he was the B-side, big time. He came out first. He was the B-side in this promotion. This kid Brewer had fought for Thompson before. It's nonsense, Thompson boxing. Whoever's in charge over there, whatever the guy's name, it's nonsense. You got to make this fight right. You got to make an immediate rematch, and you need to get some fair and balanced, neutral judges in there, because I don't know what the hell these judges were looking at.
I absolutely agree with you. I mean, it's just it's like I said, it's one of those things, man, where you just kind of look at it and you just tell yourself, you know, how many bad decisions are we going to have this year?
This is the thing about boxing, man. And you know, we've said this multiple times, and we're going to continue to say it. We'll probably end up saying it to the end of time because I don't think anything's ever going to change. But these judges need to be held responsible. They need to be brought up in front of a national commission. I don't care if it's on a federal level, something that governs all 50 states. You have to hold these judges accountable. To me, it's no different than if a police officer pulls over somebody and writes them a speeding ticket for doing 120 and they were doing 50. To me, it's no different. They're taking somebody's livelihood. They you know,
well, like you said,
with
I mean,
falsification, you know, whether it be whatever they can conjure up in their mind to justify that kind of a decision. It's bullshit. Excuse my language. Just nonsense.
No, I absolutely agree. And the thing is like I said, I mean, if you get an opportunity to speak with Nate, like I said, you know, which I hope you do, I know you will, just let him know that, you know, and even the greatest fighters in the world have lost fights. The great Salvador Sanchez lost a fight early in his career, amongst others. I mean, there were even some great Mexican fighters that lost their pro debut.
Bernard Hopkins, another
lost
legend, lost his very first fight.
But the point is, it's not what happens; it's how you come back. And I'm sure, like I said, he got the work done. He completely dominated this guy. He knows the mistakes he made, but they did say one thing that I agree with. It's getting to the point that you can't be an out-of-town fighter coming in and expect to get a decision. You can't leave it up to the judges because the judges today kind of emulate a lot of what's going on today. It's just like they're walking around like the three blind mice.
Yeah, it's horrible, man. I tell you, this kind of takes the wind out of my sails because I know Nate and I know how hard he's been working these last several years. I know that he was, you know, primed and ready to fight Joey Spencer on a big stage, and that got taken from him. And then he comes back on this. Now, granted, he got the main event here for this bout, but what else does a man have to do? I mean, he could have even knocked down Brewer again, and mathematically on those cards, he still would have lost.
Yeah, and that's amazing. And this is where it gets back to the point, bro, where I keep saying this over and over again. I'm not even listening to what they have to say here. But when you have a judge that completely is just balls off, I mean, you know, and there's been so many of them, to just let them pick up their, you know, their glasses, their cell phone, their bag at the end of the night, cut their paycheck and walk out the door is unacceptable. At that point, they need to sit in front of some type of an independent commission and say, okay, we're questioning your reasoning in this fight tonight. So we're going to go round by round. And I want you to explain to me how you see this one fighter defeating this other fighter. And we don't care if it takes how long it's going to take, because if you don't come back with something that makes sense, then I can guarantee you won't be on another one of these cards, because we don't need people like that.
And you notice they still never went back and showed the second, what we thought could have been a second knockdown.
No,
they're saying it was a push, but I saw a left hook. I saw Nate throw a left hook. And I don't know what Ray Corona saw, where he waved it off and said that wasn't a knockdown. I don't know what he saw. I don't know. I mean, he's the closest man to the action, but I didn't see a shove at all. In fact, I never saw Nate even throughout the entire 6-round fight either hold or come close to shoving. Yeah. There was no need. He was rolling off all.
Well, I can guarantee you this. I mean, you know, not to put it on Thompson Boxer or anything like this, but they got to bear some of the responsibility, because they're the ones obviously that hired the everything from the referees to the judges that brought in the actual fighters that fought on this card. Yeah, yeah. And if they're not willing to go and do something like this, when a guy like Nate Weston is going to get more opportunities, hopefully, which, you know, he does, I don't see a whole lot of chances of him going back and fighting under that banner if he knows this is the way things are going to go, especially a guy who doesn't live around the corner and a guy who brings so much into a fight to just have us taken away because they want the local boy, you know?
Yeah. This right here, this is in any what's the word I'm looking for here? Any validity that Thompson Boxing was seeking in putting on this card, or any measure of legitimacy that they were looking, they just completely pulled the rugs off from underneath themselves. Because right now, all over the world right now, boxing, for people that watch that fight, are thinking, what is this nonsense Thompson Boxing crap? Well, what is this nonsense? This is one step up.
You're absolutely right.
This is like whatever legitimacy you were seeking, you just you shot yourself in the foot, basically. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. Because like I said, I mean, it's easy for judges to think, well, you know, when you see fighters, you know, or you see people on this, you know, who are the hosts, the announcers, and they say, well, you know, that's boxing, you got to put your faith. No, you can't put your faith. There's a lot of things in this world right now, bro. It's hard to put your faith in when one person's telling you this, another person's telling you this, and your so-called leaders are telling you this, and your gut's telling you this, you know. And my daddy taught me a long time ago, always go by your gut feeling. My gut feeling tells me, just by looking at this, something smells bad in Thompson boxing.
Oh yeah,
right now.
oh yeah, absolutely. They were making a big deal about this kid. This kid talked a big tough game. This Richard Brewer, he came out and did absolutely nothing.
I'd love to get this kid at the damn gym, man.
Yeah, this kid. Yeah,
Yeah,
and he looked like a big, a bit of a big mouth too. The way he was saying, "Well, I'm miles. What do you say? I'm levels above." Really? Based off of what? Who have you fought?
Yeah, that always gets me, you know, and we're going to talk about that more in just a bit right now and stuff like this. But you know, Thompson Boxing is obviously through Thompson Home Building Products or whatever
they are, yeah.
And they have this motto that's something like, we work hard to make your home look better. Well, they need to work harder to make sure that the fighters that come in are given a fair opportunity, because right now, Thompson Boxing took some heavy check marks for me tonight.
If you're a young fighter, right, and you're given a phone call to be brought in as the opponent, just go the other way. Say, no, that's fine. Go fight for I mean, any of these other promotions. Go fight for Ed Holmes. Go fight for anybody. Stay the hell away from this, because this was nonsense.
Well, I'll be sure. Like I said, once we get done here, we're gonna do we'll do a quick little video interlude, and we'll be sure to tag Richard Brewer and Thompson and let them know what you know. We're not the casual fans. We're the guys who are in the mix. We're the guys who know a lot about boxing. We're the guys who this has been a part of our life, our entire life. So, I mean, we look at it a little bit different, and it affects us a little bit more. And we get a little bit more angry when we see some of these people that don't deserve some of the things that they're given. And one of them being the decision that Richard Brewer got tonight.
Yeah.
But, so let's go ahead and move on. I want to say congratulations, because in our eyes over here at Enter the Ring Live, myself, Mighty Mike, and I know Eric Dorette, if he was here, Nate Weston, you were the winner tonight. Obviously they got it wrong, but we'll see more from Nate Weston in the future.
In fact,
So getting back, we were talking about Adrian Broner or Santiago. This gets back to what I said again. Guys like Steve Farhood just need to be eliminated from boxing. All guys do. You see, a lot of people are quick to come up and say, well, AB's just being a typical jackass again, talking shit. No, he's not. AB's the one who worked hard in the gym. AB's the one who's going through certain things in life. AB's the one who decided to make this comeback and went through all of the obstacles in which to fight this fight against not just anybody. He could have came back against, you know, whoever he wanted to, but he took on a tough guy, even after his original opponent fell through, that was undefeated and was on the rise. It was tough in the beginning. He had to shake off some rust, but at the end of the night, he got it right. He did what he had to do. Maybe not as wide as Steve Farhood wanted, but Steve Farhood was watching a completely different fight. I mean, he doesn't have a clue. Don't make a discussion or try to make an argument about how a man's punching if you've never even had the ability to throw a punch that way.
Yeah.
Because it just makes you look stupid. It's not like somebody trying to tell me how to drive and they don't even have a driver's license and never been behind the wheel. Just stop.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I'm really getting tired of this and stuff.
Exactly. And Steve Farhood is the new Larry Merchant / Jim Gray, guys that obviously in the post-fight interviews, they're looking to pull a reaction out of AB. That's what they're doing. Too. Yeah, Al Bernstein is the same way. He know, in it, like we said this before, early in his career, Al Bernstein was respectable.
I very much respected the man. I can't respect him anymore ever since. And I actually said it to the man. And just real quick, I said it to the man years ago at StubHub.
Yeah.
You know, he was standing right there next to Carlos the Force Tight, a guy who was a 2-time ESPN middleweight champ, who he knew of, was one of his favorite fighters. And he ignored the man like he was a hot dog vendor.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, these guys got short memories, you know, they got short memories.
So getting back on that, like I said, I mean, also on that card, we had Otto Valin ended against Dominic Brazil. Did you get a chance to catch that one?
No, I did not catch that fight. I'll be honest with you. I did go back and watch some of the highlights, but it looks like Otto Valin just basically had his way with Dominic Brazil for the full duration of that fight. And, you know, I'm a little bit torn because I don't know Dominic Brazil, but I have a good friend. We have a couple of good friends that know him. And, you know, by all accounts, he's a good guy. He lives out here in Eastvale, California. Actually, a buddy of mine actually did his home loan when he bought his home out in Eastvale. You know, he's a good guy, but, you know, I don't know, man. I think if you can't get by an Otto Wallin, really, what are you sticking around for? Just at this point, you're just fighting for a paycheck now, because all you're going to be now is just that gatekeeper, that stepping stone. They're going to use you for someone like a Michael Coffey. Was that his name, who fought a few weeks ago?
Michael Coffey, yeah.
Something like that, or somebody like Michael Hunter. That's what it's going to be. You're just going to be the gatekeeper, the opponent. And at one point, you were fighting for the world championship against Anthony Joshua just a few short years ago.
And you know what, bro? This goes back to what we said earlier, talking about about what just happened to Nate Weston right now. But the fact of why Nate Weston looks so good is because the people that he's been in the gym with, Triple G, Jaime Munguia, amongst others. Same thing with Otto Wallin. Obviously, everybody knows his matchup in which he was very competitive against Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
He actually, at certain points, kind of made that Tyson Fury look a bit vulnerable. But another thing is that they commented on was the fact that Otto Wallin was the main sparring partner for Anthony Joshua, amongst others. So this is a man who's done a lot of work behind the scene in the gym, and it showed. Where Dominic Breazeale still looks the same. He's got skill, but he's never ever tried to take that step forward. He's just not aggressive enough. He still is kind of hokey the way he throws his punches. Wallin just looked like more of a professional.
Yeah.
How can I say? He looked more like a guy who's taking his career a little bit more seriously, where Dominic looks like he's on his way out.
Well, he knows how close he came in that Tyson Fury fight. Yeah. He came very, very close to pulling off a major upset.
Who's arguably the #1 heavyweight in the world.
I mean, I don't think there's any question about it. Tyson Fury is the #1 heavyweight in the world. I mean, belts, all title belts aside, sanctioning organizations aside, he's the best heavyweight in the world. He's undefeated. He's got the one blemish on his record, which was the draw with Deontay. That's a whole nother subject for a whole nother video. But like you said, Otto Wallin is doing the work in the gym. He's doing what's necessary to make himself better.
And I think that was the thing that just really impressed me. I'm not gonna say overly impressed me, because he's still got a lot to work on. And you know this as well as anybody, bro. You can look absolutely amazing. Mm-hmm. I don't want to hear about the gym wars. It gets to me when I hear guys talk about guys like, like Rolly Romero and all the things that he's done in these gym wars. And then he goes into a fight against a guy like Morenes and looks like shit. The bottom line is, unless you can translate that hard work and whatever you did in the gym in an actual fight, it means absolutely nothing. Wallin was able to do that transition on this night against Breazeale, and a fight that actually, coming up to it, I thought Breazeale had a good chance of winning this fight, only based on the fact of his overall boxing skill and his size and capability at the end of his jab, which he didn't do. He fought like a small fighter. He fought Wallin's fight from round 1. I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
So another fight that came out, Robert Easter Jr. came back and defeated Ryan Martin. Ryan Martin, a guy who I saw earlier in his career, who was coming off of a pretty successful run, as far as, ever since his loss to Josh Taylor, which, he got TKO by Josh Taylor, but there was moments where he looked really good.
Yeah.
But the thing is I have to give it to Robert Easter. This is a guy who I continuously sign off after a while.
Write him off, and then
you just don't know with this guy. I mean, at one point he looked like the new Paul Williams, and then he comes back and and he has that fight against Mikey Garcia where he just looks ordinary. And I'm like, dude, what happened to that sharp shooting sniper that happened? So then he loses that, and then he doesn't look good against Rancis at all. That's another fight in which
Rancis Bartholomew,
barely got it. Questionable victory over Granados. Adrian Granados, and then comes in here against a tough guy in Ryan Martin, who's actually good friends with AB. They've known each other since they were kids, and the kid has skills. And I got to be honest with you, I was impressed with Robert Easter. He looked amazing, sharp. He might have just catapulted himself right back into that division, right when you thought he was not going to be there.
Yep. So those were the cards from Showtime. Let's go ahead and we're about 45 minutes in. We took a little longer covering that fight from that Thompson boxing main event. Let's go ahead and jump into the fights that everybody's talking about, or at least the main event everybody was talking about, which was at the Bubble and at the MGM Grand in Vegas. They're saying the final show at the Bubble, they're going to start opening things back up. So limited audience now. In the co-main event, Gabriel Flores Jr. wins a 6-round TKO over Jason Velez. At 130 pounds. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, AJ, you made a good point earlier. We were talking, Jason Velez is a guy that's on the downside of his career. He's taken some tough losses over the years. He was kind of brought in to be kind of like that opponent. Like we said, the fate that we don't want to see Dominic Brazil suffer, just the opponent. You're in there because you're a name, because you fought for world titles or you fought the highest level, and now you're just taking loss after loss after loss. And I got to be honest with you, I am still completely and thoroughly underimpressed with Gabriel Flores Jr. I am. I do not see what everybody else is seeing. Aside from the human interest story, which I'm kind of getting sick and tired of hearing about.
Yeah.
I'm really getting sick and tired of it. That's not to take anything away from the pain that young man felt, losing his mother at a young age to gang violence. But at the end of the day, turn the page. This is not about that. If you want to watch that sappy stuff, go turn on a novella or turn on, One Life to Live. This is about fighting and boxing, and I don't care really what happens outside the ring. When that bell rings, I want to talk about the fight and the fighters.
Yeah. I had a bad taste in my mouth going into this fight for a couple of reasons. For one, obviously, I knew there was going to be some type of comparison made because the fact last year Velez had fought Oscar Valdez. Well, that was a different Oscar Valdez. That was a year ago.
Yeah.
And this is a different Jason Velez.
That Jason Velez that showed up last night gets knocked out in one round by Oscar Valdez.
He's just taking a steady decline. You got to say something. This is
he looked like he couldn't let his hands go in the first few rounds. I'm like, why? He just couldn't get nothing going.
And even with the limited amount of output that he was putting, he was still controlling the pace, the fight, had Flores in a few spotty situations
and marked his face up.
Yeah. But the thing that really got to me, bro, that just left that bad taste in my mouth and why I have my book. Some people always talk about it, like I remember this movie called Bulletproof with Kurt Russell. Russell says, you ever hear it when the guy says, well, you're all right in my book. He's like, I actually got a book, and every person I meet, I write in this book. Well, you know what? Tonight, Gabriel Flores went down in my book as just a complete classless punk. And I'm going to tell you why. When the fight ended and he knew he got the victory, it wasn't set up. It was a lucky punch against a guy in Velez who looked like he didn't even really train. His head wasn't there. He had this gloss look on his eyes going into the fight. And this trying to do this Tiafimo stuff, that shit's got to stop. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. It's going to be a hard pill to swallow.
Yep.
The day when you get in there against a real fighter, a fighter who's not standing on one leg and got another leg and a bottle of pudding. You know what I'm saying? And he goes in there and he knocks you out that way and looks over you and does some type of thing like this. It hurts.
Yeah.
And even at this situation, have some respect for a guy like Jason Velez, who didn't have to fight this fight. Knew he was going to be the B-side, knew he was a sacrificial lamb, knew that he was physically and mentally not ready to fight, and he still took the fight. Have some respect.
Yep, exactly. You respect the game, and the game will disrespect you back. I'm telling you, disrespect the game, it will disrespect you.
And that's
back.
about all I want to talk about that, because honestly, like I said, he went in my book as a piece of crap, and I'm hoping
and very, very, very overrated. I know a couple of 130 pounders that are fighting 4 rounders that'll knock that kid out in 2 rounds, and I will put money on it. I will put big money on that fight. Either way, that's all I have to say about that fight.
Before we jump into Oscar Valdez, I want to comment about one other thing. So they had a discussion with the new, what I call the king of classless. I have my little thing. He's the new king of classless, even surpassing Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah.
And that is Shakur Stevenson. At some point, somebody told, and it was probably Bud Crawford, because he's starting to have that Bud Crawford mentality where he just thinks he's so much better. So he's naming off all these people and who he wants to fight. He's going to do this and do this. And I'm thinking, okay, wait. When?
Yeah. You talk about it. These other guys are doing it.
Yeah. There's no possibility. I mean, let's be honest. Shakur Stevenson is not going to step in the ring with a guy like Lomachenko. Not to say that he wouldn't if he was given the opportunity, but he knows Lomachenko's not going to fight at 130 pounds. End of story. Lomachenko's made it perfectly clear where he's going to stay. Then you've got guys out there, but the one name that he didn't really have much to say about afterwards, after the fight, was Oscar Valdez. Sure, he brought up Miguel Berchelt. There's a big chance Miguel Berchelt may never fight again, but he doesn't bring the guy up who's already proven he's a proven commodity. So that's what we want to see, Shakur. Not a Joet Gonzalez, not one of these other guys. Let's see you get in there against one of these guys they consider a monster. You know, better yet, how about the guy that so many are writing off right now, a Jojo Diaz?
I agree. 100%. Shakur Stevenson he's really crossed that line.
He really has.
To you know, brash, young, confident kid to just annoying and just full of false bravado. He's fighting nobody. His last fight, he won 12 rounds with that kid who was a late sub. The kid probably shouldn't have lasted more than 4 to 5 rounds with them. He struggled with that kid, hit that kid with everything. The guy's name escapes me, but he's a fighter that you've never heard of and you'll never hear from again. That's all you need to say about that. And it took Shakur Stevenson, 10, 12 hard rounds.
That was Clary. That was Con Clary.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. I mean, you look at it, Shakur Stevenson's best victory to date, honestly, even above Joet Gonzalez, I think, killed himself with the fight. Basically, he didn't fight his fight because he just wanted to beat Shakur's ass for the fact that Shakur is laid it into his sister, whatever the situation. That's his problem. But it was against Christopher Diaz. But let's be honest. Chris Diaz is not a 130 pounder. Hasn't been.
Yeah.
He's a guy who needed to go back down. So at this point, you know, with Shakur Stevenson, you know, with his 15-0 with 8 knockouts, you look at his resume, and it looks like something very comparable. It looks almost remarkably similar to another person's resume that's always in question. And that must be his idol and his big brother, Bud Crawford.
Yeah. Very questionable resumes.
Very questionable. It's a who's who or who's not who.
And at the end of the day, we judge fighters based on their opponents. You don't judge them based on their skills, because
I'll tell you this, bro.
Because a guy could look like $1 million in the gym hitting a speed bag or jumping rope. That's not what makes you great. That's not what stamps your place in the boxing world. That's not what people are going to remember you for. They're going to remember you for the fighters that you fought. We've been saying it for as long as we've been doing this show. You got to step up, demand these big fights. These fights.
And the thing is, you know, he's running his mouth off like he'd done something. And now, don't get me wrong, it was an impressive victory over Joet Gonzalez, because, you know, I thought Gonzalez was going to be able to do something. But when I saw his next fight against Felix, you know, Cabello, this is a guy who had a 13-0 record, but hadn't fought nobody, was a newbie. Clary brought him down, and I'm thinking to myself, hey, Steve Urkel, put the brakes on, dude. It's like you haven't. It's not like you've been beating champions. You don't have a resume like a Jojo Diaz, and you definitely cannot put yourself in the same regard or even the conversation of a Miguel Berchelt or an Oscar Valdez. These are guys who have fought everybody. Everybody. And they'll continue. They got so tired of fighting everybody, they fought themselves, each other.
Fought each other, yeah.
That's all I have to say about
it. Very true.
So,
and you know, it's not a mystery. And I don't know. I mean, we've talked about this a couple of weeks ago on the show, and it's not a mystery or not a coincidence that these fighters that do more fighting with their mouths than their actual fists are Terrence Bud Crawford, Shakur Stevenson, Gable Flores Jr. now, and these are guys that are all with Top Rank. I mean, Top Rank, Teofimo Lopez. These Top Rank just breeds loudmouths these days, and I don't understand it.
Yeah, I agree, bro. It's gotten to the point that, I mean, it's almost like you just want to tune them out.
Yeah.
But, you know, because the thing is, an important thing happened this week, and that was Josh Kelly that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Josh Kelly losing was kind of the beginning, I think, of what is going to be the tip of the fuse heading towards the firecracker. He was another one that was brash, talked a lot, very confident. But when faced against a hardened veteran who just said, you know what? I don't even have Facebook. I don't even have an Instagram. I don't care. I didn't realize it was a requirement to be a boxer. And he ends Josh Kelly. I'm sure Josh Kelly will come up with some excuses to cut, whatever. You know, his dog wasn't feeling good. You know, the moon wasn't aligned correctly, whatever the situation may be. But I'll tell you this. I hope it turns into that trend. And we start seeing guys like Gabriel Flores, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez. We start seeing these guys kind of fall off the wayside, because we don't need that in boxing. We need more Jaime Munguias. We need more Nate Westons. These are the type of fighters that we need.
These guys all think that they can just take the baton from a Floyd Mayweather Jr. And we've said this as well on the show. Floyd Mayweather Jr., before he ever became Money Mayweather and the brashness and the bravado, he fought and was beating champions. Gennaro Hernandez, Angel Manfredi.
He was Pretty Boy Floyd.
Diego Corrales. I mean, he put the work in before he ever got brash in this, and these, like I said, these kids all want to take that baton and be the next Floyd. They will never be the next Floyd because they're doing it in reverse. They're talking before they actually are putting the work in. Floyd put the work in and then talked. People could love or hate Floyd. You cannot, now later in his career, you could say he fought guys at the right time, this and that. But then again, if they know anything about this sport, that's how this sport is. It's very strategic.
No, that's a great point, bro. And I'll tell you what,
it's not about just throwing your guy in with the toughest opponent they could possibly find in the same weight division. It's strategic.
I'll take it in one step. I'll take it another way. I think it's a manipulative game that was been orchestrated by Floyd towards the later part of his career. He knew that at some point he was going to have to hang up the gloves. He was happy that he got away with his 50-0 glossy record. But Floyd understood that in order to keep that GOAT status that he so many times has pushed down everybody's throats and continue to show tables on Instagram full of money and everything else that he's got going on in his life.
Yeah.
Continue with his circus sideshow and make money.
Mm-hmm.
He had to stop all of these other promising fighters from reaching that goal. And how does he do that? By taking away their Started with Adrian Broner. Starting to work a little bit with Gervonta Davis, but then Gervonta's people kind of got a little smart. But a lot of these other fighters, the young fighters, are going to find out the hard way. You can act like somebody, but you'll never be that person. There's a reason why in boxing you've been successful up to a certain point. A la AB, Broner. Broner was already a hotspot. He was a guy who was just tearing through the divisions. At 22 years old, he was already a 2-time champion.
Yeah.
And then he had that one night where he met, Floyd in Vegas. And that was a night, I think, if AB can go back in time and change things, that would be something he would change. And I think we see a different future ending for AB. Right now, he needs to figure out who he is, because right now he's conflicted because years and years and years of mind manipulation from Floyd Mayweather is still relevant today.
Yeah, very well said. Yep.
It happens.
Let's go ahead and, man, let's go jump on the fight everybody's talking about, man, on social media and boxing platforms all over the world, really, was and I'm going to start it off like this. AJ, you called it. I said you were one of the very few people that were actually went on record and said that Valdez was going to win this fight. And I think you even said how he was going to win the fight. Stoppage. I'm
gonna let you go there, because I really want you to talk about this, because I don't want to take too much credit, because honestly, now I'm starting to see a lot of people out there who didn't pick Valdez, but they said, "Oh yeah, I said Berchelt, but in my heart I knew Valdez."
Yeah,
let me tell you something right now. Whatever comes out of your mouth is what comes out of your mouth. So, like I said, one of the key things that I saw going into this fight was I always look at fighters' resumes and who they fought against and what type of battles they've been in. Not their entire career. I look at their last 5 fights. Oscar Valdez has been in some live and die fights. He's gotten up off the canvas. He's a guy that's not too proud to say, "Hey, I was hurt." You ask the man, "Hey, in his fight against Sylvania, how was it, man? The toughest guy." Yeah, I thought I had to question myself. He had Reynoso telling him, it's like to push this kid on. So he takes on a guy who a lot of people just don't even want to stand on the same side of the street with, and the mighty Miguel Berchelt. I just saw too many flaws in Berchelt. Not to say that Berchelt can't come back and be that monster again, but I think that Valdez was fighting at a different level. Berchelt only had one dimension: power punching and straightforward. You didn't see. He did show some elusiveness in his fights against Jason Sosa. But other than that, I haven't seen that Miguel Berchelt since then.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that Miguel Berchelt that I saw in that fight against Valenzuela in Tijuana in that warm-up fight, which I was kind of concerned about.
Yeah, you were concerned because he was taking a lot of shots in that fight.
Yeah, and the thing was, all week I kept hearing from people saying, "We know Miguel Berchelt can hurt Oscar Valdez. We know Valdez could be knocked down. Can Oscar Valdez hurt Miguel Berchelt? No, he can't. He doesn't hit hard enough." I said, listen, you don't have to be the hardest hitter. It's just the placement of the punches. And when you got a guy coming in using his full force, he's helping elevate your punching power from 70 and pushing you over that 100 grid.
And speed is power. And he was clearly the faster fighter.
Right from the get-go.
From his feet movement, to his hands, to his head movement. You're right. Berchelt was one-dimensional. Come forward. He didn't even do a good job of cutting off the ring. There was a few moments in a few middle rounds. He started to apply a little bit more effective pressure, but Valdez knew how to cope with it. He knew how to cope with it. I said going into this fight, I had Berchelt winning the fight, but I said it was going to be very competitive. And Valdez, if it gets to later rounds, does have a chance. That's the best I can say for myself. I really thought. I'm not going to say I was surprised, and I said that. I said if Valdez wins, it's not going to surprise me.
Yeah,
it's not going to surprise me. I'm still leaning towards Berchelt, but.
And well, Eric said it too. Eric called the ninth or 10th round too. Eric said that if it was going to happen, it was going to happen around there. But let me say this. You and I were communicating in the 9th round via text message and even on the phone during the fight. We were watching in separate locations. And you said in the 9th round, I have the screenshots. I'll show it. You said, I don't like the way Berchelt's finding his corner needs to seriously consider stopping this fight. And that was one round before that devastating knockout. And that was a devastating knockout. That was so far for 2021, that is definitely the knockout of the year so far. I mean, we're still young into 2021, but who knows? That was such a devastating knockout. That could carry the mantle. Jones Zepeda's was 2020.
2020.
Okay, yeah.
This is 2021. So far, this is the knockout of the year so far. I mean, we're early into the year, but man, that was a devastating left hook that caught him flush on the face, and he was out before he hit the ground, face first.
Absolutely, yeah. And
scary moments for a minute there. Very scary
moment. No disrespect to Oscar Valdez. Obviously, he was caught up at the moment, with his emotion at the moment. The fact that he had.
But there was none of this bullshit and all this Teofimo and all that.
He was just excited at the time.
Elation. You saw it in his face, screaming. You know what I mean? Everybody wrote me off. They said I had no chance in this fight because Berchelt's just this unbeatable force. What did they call it? The immovable object against the irresistible force, and it was. It was.
And I saw that a few people try to say because Valdez made that comment that if he could have, he would have done that Teofimo backflip. That's about the extent of it. The difference is Teofimo would do a backflip and then pull out his broom or a shovel and act like he's scooping somebody off. Oscar Valdez
and against an opponent like a Mason Menard, no disrespect to Mason Menard. He's probably, he's a tough guy. I respect any man that gets in the ring.
But he's not Miguel Berchelt.
He's not Miguel Berchelt. Matter of fact, he's not even on the same stratosphere as a Miguel Berchelt.
But I think the thing that got me was that right away, once Oscar saw that Berchelt was in distress, his immediate reaction was
his focus immediately turned to Berchelt.
Because a lot of the casual fans don't understand. I know maybe some of them learned about it, during the little 2-part document, the little shows they had lead up to the fight.
Yeah.
But Miguel Berchelt and Oscar Valdez have a history together. They're friends. They know each other quite well. And they respect one another. But they understood. But Oscar Valdez said something prior to this fight. He said, friendship is friendship. But we both understand that whatever we do in the ring, it's not personal. It's business. And Oscar said it since day one. One of us is going to take that next step to greatness. The other one is going to have to recalculate things. And guess what? Oscar Valdez did what he had to do. You got to take your hats off to a guy who's undersized. A lot of people questioned everything. Even the great Julio Cesar Chavez, his idol, said that he was no match for Berchelt. And I could tell that kind of got under Oscar's skin. Now, whether or not Oscar will, think of, we'll look at Julio Cesar Chavez in that way again, who knows? But even Timothy Bradley, who was very, very direct about the fact that Oscar Valdez stood no chance, tried to change his tune too.
Of course. He's the biggest flip-flopper out there.
Right now, I can guarantee you, and I'm going to tell you the type of person that I believe Oscar Valdez is. As happy as Oscar Valdez is about this victory, his only focus right now is a quick return of Miguel Berchelt. Miguel Berchelt did not look good as he was being carted away to the ambulance after the fight with his wife. You could see it in his face. He was crying. He was physically damaged. We may not see
physically and mentally.
And I'll be honest with you. I'm not putting any blame on Russell Mora. Russell Mora knows if he would have stopped that fight and not allowed this great knockout highlight reel to happen for Top Rank, he would never graced another Top Rank event again. So he gave Miguel Berchelt, because of the hype going into this fight, that opportunity. But that opportunity might have cost a man who was honestly, say what you want to say, because I'm already starting to see a lot of people out there, and they said it tonight on the fight that they're talking about the Weston fight. The one young black guy, I can't think what his name is.
Dougie Fisher.
Yeah. And the other guy was saying, well, we all got kind of caught up on,
I didn't.
But maybe he wasn't as good.
Yeah, they right away start trying to minimize the accomplishments of Berchelt.
Well, not only minimize the accomplishment of Berchelt, but take some of the shine away with the victory of Oscar Valdez.
Yes.
And to me, this is the kind of shit that's got to stop.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, you very well said, bro. Yeah, I mean, all credit to Oscar Valdez. You know what scares me about Oscar Valdez? It's like in horse racing. You know, a horse will come out and have a great performance.
You never know he's gonna break down.
No, win by 10 lengths, and then there's a term in horse racing that's called bounce. You know, we'll see if he bounces. And bouncing, what that means is his next outing he runs like doo-doo. And it happens. It's like a natural progression with athletes, whether they're equine athletes or human athletes. Let's hope that we have not seen the best of Oscar Valdez. Like, this was the pinnacle, because there's a lot of big fights out there for him. There's a lot of big American opponents. No disrespect to Berchelt. Berchelt is very known fighting through all boxing circles, but in the bigger, broader picture worldwide, he's not as marketable. I mean, he fights for smaller promotions and for promotions. Now, they're big in their own right. They have great champions. They promote Chon Cepeda, Jaime Munguia. They used to promote Eric Morales. Over the years, they promoted some great champions. But, you know, could you imagine an Oscar Valdez at 130 pounds going up against a Tevin Farmer, an American, a Jojo Diaz, if Jamel Herring, Jamel Herring, and winner of Jamel Herring versus Carl Frampton. Could you imagine an Oscar Valdez Carl Frampton fight? 2 5.5 foot, wow. 5 foot 5.5 guys, similar boxing styles. I mean, that right there, that could be an absolute. And then you got the entire UK fan base. I mean, that is a fight that could seriously is on their radar right now. They're going, okay, Oscar,
you heard it first right here from Marty Mike.
Yeah.
He called it.
The winner of that fight, which I have no doubt, I think it's going to be Carl Frampton. I think he's got enough. But him and Oscar Valdez is it's a global event. It's not just an American event.
As much as that is what I'll tell you right now, I'd pay 5 times for it, you know, just to have it, because I would have to buy the seats around me because I'll be jumping around so much. I don't want to get a lawsuit afterwards of damaging somebody. But the one that really intrigues me is something you said earlier today, and that is another fighter who's going to have a big chip on his shoulder, because for some reason, the boxing public just can't forgive him for a simple mistake.
Yeah.
And then for a bullshit decision. And that's Jojo Diaz.
Yeah.
Jojo Diaz right now is a little mini bowl of lava that's brewing to a volcano. And I'll be honest with you. I truly feel Jojo Diaz comes back and impressive. I heard something today that really upset me. And it was the same guys, the commentators every time. And they talked about Jojo Diaz briefly. And they said something about to see where his career goes from here. I didn't realize coming in overweight and then getting robbed with a gifted draw in a fight in which you thoroughly won put your career in jeopardy. I thought the situation that happened to Miguel Berchelt put your career in jeopardy, but they're pretty more.
But there's no mention on that, you know.
No, there's obviously a witch hunt on Jojo Diaz for right now. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's Top Rank. I don't know if it's the boxing. I don't know who he is. Something happened. He stole somebody's lunch and he pissed somebody off. But the bottom line is, that's a fight I would love to see, because I'm gonna tell you right now, you made a great point just a minute ago, bro. If Oscar Valdez put so much into this here to get over this tremendous hurdle, is that maybe a little bit of a letdown against Jojo Diaz? Because I'll tell you something right now, based on what I already knew and what I saw, is as scary as Miguel Berchelt is, there's a much higher hill to climb in Jojo Diaz.
I agree. Jojo, I think, is more versatile.
Absolutely.
Jojo can box coming forward. He's a southpaw. He
got
can
a great chin.
He's got a good chin. I'm telling you, man, me and you and Eric as well, we're going to continue to ride or die with Jojo, and it's not for personal reasons, because I've only met him a few times, but the kid, as far as I'm concerned, the kid has all the makings of a star. And I feel like we said in his post-fight recap a week or two ago, I feel like he's been overlooked by Golden Boy. Golden Boy tried for the last couple years so hard to just put everything into Canelo Alvarez, obviously to keep him, and that didn't happen. And Canelo is now a free agent fighting for whatever platform he decides to on the day. But I'm getting a leg cramp.
I get this all the time.
But damn.
No, but I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Yeah, it almost seems like
ow.
And it's unfortunate because you know what? Right now in the 130-pound division, you know, you got the guys out there right now. Obviously, you got to say the top guy at the 130-pound as Oscar Valdez, because why? He beat the top guy.
Yeah.
Not Shakur Stevens.
No.
Okay. Not any of these other guys. But the only one that I could put in there that I think is a threat, even above Farmer, because he defeated Farmer, and that's Jojo Diaz. Jojo Diaz, in my eyes, is still a champion. You can't lose your championship at the scale. Yeah, technically they took it away from him, but he's still champion.
He still hasn't been beaten in the ring for that fight.
He didn't get beaten in the ring, as far as what happened. And during this, and another thing is, because of this COVID, even Adrian Broner made that comment. He's like, it's not that easy to get in shape when this COVID thing, you can't go here, you can't go here. But nobody seems to really want to give Jojo a chance. So since Top Rank is so viral about wanting to blast what little credibility Jojo Diaz has, and he's so susceptible to the so many talented fighters under the Top Rank banner, then I say that they spoon feed Shakur Stevenson to Jojo Diaz as a pre-warm-up to Oscar Valdez. And once he knocks out, Steve Urkel, then that could set up a possible classic that I see, honestly, that could turn into a trilogy. I could see one for Jojo, Oscar come back, or maybe even a draw like with the Canelo thing, and then to a third. But the thing that worries me, they're both such warriors. That may be the last 3 fights we see of Valdez and Diaz.
They'll never be the same. It's almost like,
So, hey, bro, real quick, on a side note with Berchelt, how do you think Berchelt, how does he come back from this, bro? Do you think we're going to see Berchelt again, or you think we might have seen the last?
Well, I just read something on Boxing Scene before we came on tonight that he said he'll be back stronger and he feels he's going to get back. But that's the appropriate thing to say after a fight like that. Everybody wants to know that you're okay. He got a clean bill of health from the doctors, and then he's going to definitely say the right things. Hey, I'm going to be back stronger than ever. A lot of fighters say that. And you never see him again. I think Berchelt will come back, but like you said, physically and mentally, that's a very damaging fight. I mean, he was the odds on. He was it started off at about 5-1. I think they bet it down to about 3-1 by the time fight, but that's still a huge favorite. And he was considered the monster of the division, the guy that nobody wanted to fight, and to be thoroughly dominated and beaten up like that. I mean, he was physically beaten up. He got dropped in the 4th round. He just never got on track. Oscar Valdez really had him reaching and really just, I mean. You want to say that the guy's going to come back, but at this point, if he comes back, is it going to be at 130? Because I looked at that man's body in that frame and I said to myself, how in the hell did he get down to 130? Did you see the shoulders on him? Yeah. His skin was paper thin. He lost every ounce of everything in his body.
That's why they said the guy was eating. I mean, they said he had ordered 2 Hawaiian pineapple pizzas the night before. The guy was, and you got to feel for Miguel Berchelt.
You do.
This is the guy who.
Hey, you said this during the fight. Hey, this guy's a warrior. He's taking punches and he's still coming forward.
He could have took a knee, even at the bitter end. This goes back to Berchelt's fight against Flores, which I thought was stopped prematurely, and a fight in which he lost to an undefeated Colombian back when he was 21-0.
Yeah,
Berchelt rebounded from that, but something similar. There was a similarity between that defeat and Valdez. In both fights, Berchelt took kind of this weird punch to the side of the head, and his legs took this funky thing or whatever.
Yeah, he did this funky thing. I got to be honest. In the 4th round, I can't believe he made it out of that round.
Yeah. I mean, a testament to his, like I said, his heart
and his conditioning.
People talk about Oscar Valdez and the heart that he has. He's proved it time and time again. But on this night, even in defeat, Miguel Berchelt proved he's got that warrior's heart. And for any fighter like a Shakur Stevens or anybody else to think that Berchelt is now easy pickings, well, I'll guarantee you, if Berchelt comes back and if he's okay mentally and okay physically and stuff, he's still Miguel Berchelt. And you still got to get past that. And you still got to be able to get yourself, because let you know, Oscar Valdez to me is not the most talented fighter. He still does a lot of things wrong that I'm not going to blame the Reynosos, because the Reynosos have a small playbook. That's just the way they are. But the bottom line is, what makes Oscar Valdez so good at what he does, he reminds me of my cousin, who was a good street fighter, a guy who had a smart ring IQ when it comes to just fist on fist. He makes all the right decisions, not always, but he has such this little man's complex, kind of like this chip on his shoulder, that no matter how many times you knock this Tasmanian devil down, he keeps getting back up with attitude. And that's what I saw in Miguel Berchelt. He came back up with that right when he got knocked down, he came right at Valdez and actually had a little bit of success. but it was devastating. Kind of broke my heart in the way he went down and stuff, and he went out and stuff, and and
because that was a fight. It was one of those ones that had such ebbs and flows. I mean, you're going in rooting for one guy, and then you just see the heart and the character of the other fighter, and you kind of start to say, hey. And that happens, I think, in every fight. Everybody goes into a fight as a fan and says the guy who they want to win, but then halfway through it could change. It could turn from, hey, I want Valdez to win, to, man, I want Berchelt to win because look at the heart he's showing. I mean, that's what makes the sport so great. That's why you have to respect what these guys put on the line out there, and when they step into that ring, they take their life into their own hands, into the hands of another man, and then. We say it all the time, the disrespect from some of these Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, now Gabriel Flores Jr., and it's a plethora of others. It's just really, it really is a stain on boxing. It really is something that the sport does not need. The sport needs more Oscar Valdez, Miguel Berchelts.
Yeah, you're that's a great point, bro. And the thing is that it's been proven in history that there is a boxing god. There's some weird spirit out there that kind of oversees the sport itself, and it's always found a way, with the exception to Floyd Mayweather, to weed out these big mouths, eventually feed them the right opponent at the right time, and that's the end of them. Teofimo Lopez will meet his fate eventually one day, because right now Teofimo Lopez, to him, boxing is second in his life. You can see it in his eyes. You can see it in his mannerisms. He loves being a superstar, a movie star. He wants to star in Hollywood, whatever it is. But somewhere around down the street is a young kid who's got that Clubber Lane mentality. He's in that dirty garage, hitting that old bag that's duct taped up, just waiting for the moment. And I tell you right now, that line's getting bigger and bigger every day.
Yeah.
Shakur Stevens is another one. Right now, Shakur Stevens doesn't understand. He's in a shark cage, and guess what? He just got cut. And right now, he's surrounded by guys like Leo Santa Cruz, Jamel Herring, Frampton, Diaz, Farmer, Berchelt, Valdez. Where does he go? I will guarantee you he won't face any of these top guys. He'll look for another way. He can't go down, so he'll venture up. Maybe take the quick money, maybe a dream matchup against Teofimo Lopez, or look to maybe knock off a guy that's just right there, like a Jorge Linares. But either way, there's not a whole lot of choices out there that, he makes it look like he's got all these choices. But what Shakur doesn't understand, it's him making all these decisions. I don't hear these banners talking about him to make these choices.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. But
man, I had the worst leg cramp right now, man. Sorry for everybody out there. Jesus
don't worry
Christ.
about it. Don't worry about it.
I don't know.
What happened to Eric the Red today?
He probably had a couple of rooms booked tonight for his business. So if that's the case, then good, man. Yeah. Get
People
that.
Don't know, my brother runs he hand built an escape room in Oregon that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, downtown Gresham. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been tough for everybody, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been tough for everybody, what are you going to do? So what do we got? So before we end this, we got any fights coming up on the 27th? I know we got Joseph Parker going up against Junior Fa. That's a matchup.
And a fight that's been in the making for a damn near 12 months. Yeah. I got to be honest with you. I could care less about that fight. Junior Fa is a guy that I kind of high on after his first few fights. I thought he's a big, strong Polynesian guy. Maybe he can make some noise. But a fight or two ago, he just looked absolutely subpar. He looked below average. Joseph Parker's a guy that at one point was the IBF heavyweight champion of the world, and loses this fight. He lost his belt to Anthony Joshua, right? Am I correct? He lost a 12-round decision to Anthony Joshua. Just never really had that, I don't even know how to say it. I don't know. He never really showed any grit. He never bit down and went after him. And then he ended up losing to Dillian White, right? He loses the decision to Dillian White, right? He lost almost every round. And then in the 12th round, or 10th or 12th round, he decided to come on and hurt Dillian. Didn't drop him, but had him almost out. And you're thinking, where was that?
Yeah, where was that earlier in the fight? Yeah. That seems to be the ongoing thing. So I'm just kind of looking over BoxRec right now, and I see that, obviously we got that fight coming up on the 27th. I don't even want to talk about this, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyways. We got Clarissa Shields fighting a 34-year-old mom on the 5th of what would be March 5th, which
I don't think anybody,
literally a 35-year-old mom. She has 17 victories. She's never knocked anybody out, whatever.
Yeah.
about as much as I want to talk about that.
I think the only way Clarissa Shields is going to make herself relevant is she going to receive the acclaim that and the notoriety and to make herself a household name is if she goes into the MMA world and tries to fight.
I'll
one
support
of
her
their
then.
fighters.
I'll support her then. If Clarissa Shields goes over to MMA, because I'll tell you something right now. I heard Dana White made a comment about how quickly Amanda Nunes would knock Clarissa Shields out. Well, I got a rude awakening for you, Dana White. Amanda Nunes learned her skills with her fists, her how you call it in MMA, your
stand-up striking,
your stand-up game, your striking game. It's called boxing, dumbass. You know what I'm saying? Learned it from Lucas Matisse's people. Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now. Clarissa Shields, Amanda Nunes' best thing to do is to try to take Clarissa Shields' fat ass down. Because as soon as Clarissa Shields, even though she's not a big puncher, catches her and just shows the overall slickness that she does possess, it's a short night for Clarissa Shields. But that's all I want to say about that because I'm not giving them. Michael Zafra and Anthony Mundine are going at it on the 13th. Just shows you how boring it is right now in Australia outside of Tim Tszyu. Not a whole lot going on. If that's
that's a fight that honestly, when I saw that fight was made, I shook my head in disbelief. At what point do Anthony Mundine's people tell him, Anthony, you were a legend in the NRL, a rugby player, you won world champions, you beat Sugar Shane Mosley, you've been the world champion of the world. It's time to let it go. He was dismantled in one round by Jeff Horn just a short time ago.
And everybody saw what Tim Tszyu did to Jeff Horn. And this is a guy who was actually mentioning Tim Tszyu. He's crazy. Okay, so that's what I would say. David Benavidez, the return of David Benavidez on the 13th, going up against a tough Ronald Ellis. But I will guarantee you David Benavidez is going to make short work because if anybody's got a chip on his shoulder right now, David Benavidez has got one the size of Arizona.
Yeah. David Benavidez is the guy. Yeah. He's another guy that's had some issues on the scale, but once again, he's never been beaten. He's lost his title belt on the scale, but he's never been beaten by another fighter. And,
it's sad, because David Benavidez could go down in history as being one of those guys like Rick James, cocaine's a hell of a drug. Shit happens. Everybody makes mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Forgive the guy, look past,
stop bringing it up. Just let the guy.
You know who the best 168 pounder in the world is. And his name is David Benavidez. It wasn't Callum Smith. It's not Khalid Plant. It's David, not even Canelo Alvarez. It's David Benavidez. If you want to prove us wrong, get in the ring with the man. And I'll guarantee you we'll predict that one too when it's a short night for him.
I actually read something about, was it Andre Durrell or Anthony Durrell that fought Benavidez? I think it was Andre Durrell. He actually said that he felt he was winning that fight handily before the cut. I
don't know what fight he was watching. He's got brain damage.
He's got brain damage because David Benavidez controlled him.
I think David Benavidez actually took it easy on him at the end and didn't want to hurt him. We talked to his brother, Jose. He said, my brother's a freak of nature. He's a big goofball. He's a guy that, and my mom's got to tell him, go take a shower and put your comic books away. And then he gets up, puts on his boxing gloves, goes to the Staples Center and knocks people out. That's David Benavidez, a guy who still lived at home, in his room. His dad was telling him in the morning before he knocked out Durrell, hey, Mio, come home. Don't forget to clean up your room before you go. It is what it is. And then obviously, we got I'm kind of interested in this one. I don't really know a whole lot about it, but we got Arthur Beterbiev.
Arthur Beterbiev, yeah.
Beterbiev. He's going up against this Adam Danes. You know anything about? I don't know much about this guy.
I don't know anything about it. I know that Beterbiev is coming off of COVID diagnosis and several months back. Obviously, he's powered through it. Maybe he's feeling better. Obviously, hopefully, there's no ill effects from that. Because here's a guy who had just an absolute war with Vazdik. Unified the title at 175 pounds and has not fought since. That was well over a year ago. That was pre-COVID and has not fought since.
No. Yeah.
And that was a tough fight to watch. I mean, Vazdik, he's a slick, strong, undefeated champion from the Ukraine. And systematically, Beterbiev just broke him down into that fight. It was a late stoppage. I want to say it was like round 8 or 9 or something. He stopped.
Oh, yeah. It was actually a 10th round.
10th round. Something.
Yeah, that was an amazing fight. It was a fight in which, I never thought that Beterbiev was going to lose, but there was moments where it looked like Bostic he could have gained control, but Beterbiev is just such a machine, just kept coming at the guy, just this workman, like, way that his style is and stuff, let's hope that he kind of gets things going back. I don't know much about this guy, this Adam Dames that he's fighting against, other than the fact that he's 19-1, but those are always the kind of guys that it's a risk, we saw it with Adrian Broner last night, he's been off for a little while. When you got guys, just happened to Nate Weston tonight, even though Nate Weston won the fight, sometimes you got to shake off that ring rust. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. you know?
Yeah. Very disappointed still in that. That one still stings. I've already
Yeah.
reached out to his coach, his trainer Ricardo, and he just echoed the same sentiment.
I'm sure-
Horrible decision. Horrible.
I'm sure they're gonna file with the California Commission. They should.
It'll go nowhere. It's
But
just
still,
it's a
it's
waste
still
of
good.
it.
But I'll tell you now, to fighters out there, it's always good to file. I'm gonna tell you why. Make it a voice of record. Unless you put a voice of record down there where at least you filed the protest because of biasness based on the judging, based on it, you have to clearly prove that this decision was legitimate. Unless you do that, even if it doesn't ever go anywhere, you have to make that call because it holds them accountable. So they don't do it to the next guy. Even if they do, eventually it's going to catch up to them. But at least it goes on in record, and they'll actually say right there on the thing of boxing, right? There'll be an asterisk that this thing had a protest filed against the camp of Weston.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's always good to do it, just for the hell of it. But anyway,
Yeah.
I guess we rambled off long enough tonight, bro.
Yeah, we're about an hour and a half in. So I mean, that was a good show. We'll look forward to the fights coming up. I know there's another fight coming up too. We'll talk about that on the show Tuesday, but we'll investigate the boxing schedule a little bit further and get into that on Tuesday. Maybe Tuesday we'll be able to get Eric's perspective on it, because I know he was watching the fights, and I know he was also messaging me during the fights too. He just had nothing but good things to say about both guys. Even Berchelt in defeat, man, what a warrior, he said. So
Well, I was trying not to I didn't want to get my ego inflated last night because everybody was calling me saying, "Hey, dude, you got it." I was like, dude, honestly, I'll be honest with you, because this is the kind of people that we are, bro. My concern the entire night was not gloating. I told
yeah. Let me show everybody how
no.
smart I am. Yeah.
My concern was I wanted to make sure Miguel Berchelt. All I did last night was kept looking on different boxing organizations and different news things just to make sure I didn't get that notification in the middle of the night that he was rushed into the hospital. I want to make sure
For
that
emergency operation or something
and it's
like that.
still an iffy 48 hours, guys. 48 hours. It happens.
Yeah.
So for the next 48 hours, this man has to be monitored. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, I mean, my thing is I just want to see the man come back strong. If he comes back to the ring, great. If he doesn't, I'll tell you right now, he's got nothing to be ashamed of. He's still a warrior in my eyes, and I know millions of others. He still made his country proud and his family proud. Oh, Eric the Red just came in. Let's and then come in for a minute, and then we'll bounce out.
Okay.
I got to
We'll
give
give
it in. Here he comes. Should be joining.
Eric, there he is.
And we are joined by Eric the Red.
He must be at work.
Eric.
It's connecting, it says. And I got the worst leg cramp. Anybody out there got any good remedies for leg? What I got to do? Drink some pickle juice?
I think Eric's having some. Eric, can you hear us?
He's having some technical difficulties.
He has some audio issues. We might have to just cut it here. It might just be a shattered dream for Eric the Red tonight.
Shattered dream, Gary.
There you
Shattered
are.
dreams, but you know what, you guys hey, I had 3 rooms tonight. That's why I couldn't make it, man.
Hey, don't worry about it, bro.
Are
Don't
you
worry
driving
about
right now? Be careful if you're driving.
Yeah, I'm driving. I'm good. Can you see me or no?
it. Yeah, we're just getting ready to sign off right now. But real quick, why don't you go and give us about your reaction on the Valdez Berchelt fight last night?
Wow, I think we all called that. Or I mean, I called it. I know AJ called it too. But no, that was good. It was what a fight. It was an amazing fight. Amazing fight.
Great fight, yeah.
You know, there was a point that was made too, and I don't know if you guys heard about it, but they were saying, would people want to see it again? And you know what? And the thing is, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, no, because Valdez dominated. But then again, you got to think about something. Did Berchelt really bring the right game plan into this fight? Because I'll tell you right now, go back and watch his fight against Jason Sosa, who fights very similar to Oscar Valdez.
And it's very similar size.
Berchelt made crucial changes the way he moved that he didn't do against Oscar Valdez.
Yeah.
Would I want to see a second fight? I may be crazy, but I'd like to see it. And I still think it'll be competitive, but I still think it might be a toss-up.
You know what? I think Berchelt, if he does come back, I think he goes up to 135. I think he's been laboring at that weight for a while, and you saw it. You saw it in the weigh-in. He had nothing left to give. How he got down to 130 pounds, he had nothing left to give. So I think
he'd be stronger at 135.
I think he might be
We've
stronger.
been saying this for a couple years, though, bro. He's been struggling, and we didn't understand why he wanted to be the gatekeeper at 130. He should have moved up to 135 pounds a while ago.
Well, he didn't have that one signature win, though. I mean, he had good wins, but not that one signature mega fight. And obviously,
he was trying. I'm sorry. He was trying to get past what was it? Chavez's record.
Yeah, for title defenses.
Chasing a ghost, man. You guys got to stop doing that shit, man. I tell you, nobody cares. Nobody's going to say 10, 20, 30 years from now, oh, you know that. Remember Miguel Berchelt? Oh, yeah, he beat Chavez. No, they're going to say he was a great champion. They don't give a shit that you got more defenses than Chavez. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
That's irrelevant.
Yeah, exactly.
And because he chased that dream, it cost him possibly his career.
That's very well said.
Stop chasing goose.
It was a devastating knockout, though.
He needs to go. I think if he comes back, he needs to go. He needs to go to 135. There's some
stop. Like I say, stop chasing ghosts. Stop chasing the Floyd Mayweather. They're like, hey, look at this. I got money everywhere and stuff. It's bullshit, guys.
What the hell did you get that stack of money, AJ?
Mike, it's not real. Come on, look at this shit, dude. Look at it.
Looks real to me.
No. Look how big it is. Look how big it is.
Hey, guys. Hey,
look at this. Money.
Okay, so the most. This is, check it out. I think
hold on. Look at, I'm making it rain in the strip club right now, dude.
Okay. Stop it, I'm driving. Okay, the most effective punch, or what I think actually led to Berchelt getting hurt like he was that damn jab of Valdez.
Yeah, it was keeping him off balance.
That jab was stiff, and it was accurate, and it just interrupted Berchelt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it did. It blunted his offense. He'd have to reset after every time that jab landed. It's kind of what we saw tonight with Eric. I know you didn't get to see it, but a friend of ours, Nate Weston, fought tonight in Corona, California, in the main event. We were watching the fight as we started the broadcast, and he won 5, if not all 6 rounds. Knocked the guy down in the first round and got robbed.
I had to win it every round.
Are you kidding me?
He was blunting that kid was coming in, and he would just that little counter jab.
He actually had 2 knockdowns. He didn't get credited with one of the knockdowns.
The second one they said was a push, but it didn't look like a push. Got robbed. And everybody said it. The announcers all said it. Everybody on the comment section watching the fights.
Yeah, and the sad thing is because it's a smaller promotion. It was only on Facebook Live. It's gonna slide under the thing of one of those things that probably didn't happen.
They're gonna talk about it. They need to talk about this. We need to make sure that this is known. They need to talk about this.
You know that.
I'll tell you what, Mike. Why don't you reach out to Nate if he's not doing it? If he's not doing it on Tuesday, maybe we can get Nate Weston on Tuesday to talk about this fight.
You know what? I'm gonna make that call right now. I'm gonna text his strength conditioning coach and tell him.
I'd love to get him on and get his perspective, man, because I think it needs to be. I think this thing needs to be brought up. I think it needs to stop. It needs to stop now. I think this fight needs to go as a no contest at worst. Go down as a no decision, and it needs to be redone again. It was an obviously home cooked decision from the point that Nate walked in the ring. I mean, anybody that watches that with any kind of decent mentality and any kind of experience of just watching competitive sports cannot go away with a good feeling or an honest mind thinking that Nate Weston lost that fight. He thoroughly dominated that fight from round 1 to round 6.
Yeah, he did. He boxed beautifully. He was boxing off the back foot. He was countering nice. Like I said, he was hitting that kid, popping that kid's head back with the kid hardly landed a glove on him, Eric. Nate rolled with the punches so beautifully. He looked like, I'm not gonna say he looked like Floyd Mayweather, but that shoulder roll was working beautiful. Everything that guy threw, it just rolled right off of Nate's shoulder, or he was coming up,
all right,
8 inches short.
Now you can see me.
Yeah. So why'd you do that, Mike? That sounds good, bro. So why'd you do that, Mike? Why don't you reach out to Nate Weston? I'd love to get him on the show if we can get him on Tuesday or whatever day we can get it on. I think we kind of open up a platform and kind of look at this because this is something that even at no matter what level, let's be honest, Nate Weston's a guy who's right on the verge of becoming possibly a household name if everything goes the way it needs to go. And this tonight could have derailed things a little longer. And at the stage and at the age that Nate is at right now and the current situation going on in the world, you're not going to get a lot of opportunities. It's not fair to take an opportunity away from a guy that worked so hard and dominated a fight. It's completely unacceptable.
Yep. So we've been going about an hour and a half. Let's go ahead and cut it, guys. We'll be back Tuesday. Like I said, I just put
Tuesday. Don't be late, Eric.
I just put the text message in right now to George, his strength and conditioning coach. I'll also call his head trainer and say, hey, let's get him on the show Tuesday night at 5:00. So we'll work on that from here till now. We'll hopefully get that set up. I know he's going to probably take a day or two and just, maybe just, kind of just analyze what happened. And,
Yeah.
And obviously he'll be more clear-headed because he was pretty hot after the fight. He basically
he was pretty upset.
He was pretty upset.
I'll send you the link, Eric, so you can watch the fight. I'll send you the link so you can watch the fight.
Please do. I just got home, so
I'll send it to you right now, bro. I'll send it to you right now.
Yeah,
all right, guys.
send it to me, and once again, guys, I'm sorry, but you know what? I had to work.
Hey,
So-
Eric, don't even worry about it. Matter of fact, Eric, you know what, bro? Why don't you go ahead and call us out tonight?
Okay, so for Enter the Ring, I am, he is Mighty Mike,
AJ Rage,
and Eric the Red. You're gonna get a left this time.
Have a good Sunday night, everybody. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
All right,
See you on
brother, man.
Tuesday.
See you on
See you
Tuesday.
guys on Tuesday. Everybody have a